welcome back to KAMMA. I'm Khalil Deal,
Mandio.
and we are KAMMA about to talk about UFC 308. Finally, it's here. A really nice looking card. Ilya Topuria versus Max Holloway. This card is going to be absolutely phenomenal. The venue is in the Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. This is going to be absolutely insane. We'll start off with the early predictions for the prelims. That's what we're going to talk about right now. Let's go through the card. We got Bruno Silva versus Ismail Nardiev. Ibo Aslan against Rafael Cerqueira. Rinat Fakhretdinov against Carlos Leal. Farid Basharat against Victor Hugo. Kennedy Nzechukwu against Chris Barnett. Abus Magomedov against Bruno Ferreira. Motobek Orolbai against Mateusz Rebecki, and finally the main event of the prelims, Jeff Neal versus Rafael Dos Anjos. Now there are 8 fights in the prelims. Topology made a mistake in the numbers here. As you can see, it goes 5, 6, 8, 9. It's supposed to be 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
A mistake there. So we're gonna hit it off with the first fight of the card, the prelims. There we got Bruno Silva versus Ismail Nordiev. Andy, who you got? I'm curious to know who you got.
Hey man, good job on those string of names. You did not bad. I give you like an 8 on 10.
Yeah, trying to practice the names there.
Yeah, man, nice flow and everything. Okay, so first off, Bruno Silva and Ismail Nurdiev. I got to go with Ismail Nurdiev here, only because, well, no, there's a few reasons why, but at his last fight has to do the trick if you're on the fence on this guy, because losing to Chris Weidman in that crazy fashion where he kept on getting eye poked throughout the fight and losing the fight on a double eye poke knockout. Like, the guy was blind to begin with. He goes down like a ton of bricks, all blinded out. Chris Weidman gets the win. Incredible. Also on a 3-fight losing streak. Bruno Silva has good power, but his Achilles heel is his subs, man. His, like, 1 or 2 more subs on his record, he would be considered a submission specialist, but the other way around. The guy gets subbed left and right if given the opportunity. So that's what I'm looking for with Nordiev here. Nordiev is like, he has to try to go for the sub. He's got to avoid the big shots of Bruno Silva, which I think he'll do, because Chris Weidman didn't really want to take him down. And despite the eye pokes, Silva couldn't find that knockout shot or anything close to that against Chris Weidman. And I don't see him finding that shot against Nardiev. And who knows what his vision is like after all those eye pokes. Seriously, it was crazy. So yeah, that's my pick. Give me Nardiev by sub or decision. What about you, Real Deal?
Yeah, I'm definitely in agreement with you here as well. I'm going to go for Ismail Nardiev as well here. Bruno Silva's just been really looking bad in the last couple of years. It's been nothing but losses. The loss to Gerald Mearshart was able to submit him pretty easily in that fight. And then he lost, of course, to Brendan Allen by submission as well. So, like you said, then he's susceptible to submissions. Shara Magomedov, he lost to him by unanimous decision and also lost to Chris Weidman. So it's just been losing. I think he's fighting for his job here. Not to mention he's 35 years old. Ismail is going to be 7 years younger at 28. Thing I like about Ismail too is that he also has some submissions. The last guy he fought in his last fight on the Brave event, he got a submission guillotine choke.
Tahar Hadbi, right?
Exactly. So he's got submissions as well. He's actually pretty good on the ground. He's a very good grappler, Ismail Nardiev. And his record, he's got 12 wins by knockout, 6 submissions, and 5 decisions. So we can see that he's very well-rounded, has some skills on the feet and on the ground, can knock you out too. He's got power. He's younger. He's got power. They're going to be the same size. So Bruno Silva's not going to have that edge like he normally does against the fighters of being a bigger guy. And now he's facing somebody his own size, but much younger. So I like the idea of Ismail being able to get some takedowns, work some control on the ground on Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva, he's also does a couple of wild things sometimes, but I think Ismail is going to be able to weather the storm of the first round of Bruno Silva. He likes to come in there and start attacking right away. And then Ismail, I think he'll be able to use his skills to get some takedowns and maybe even latch in a submission. So I like Ismail to win this one by decision or submission in this one here.
All right, nice.
We're in agreement with the first fight of the early of the prelims here. Let's move on up to the next fight here. We got Ibo Aslan against Rafael Cerqueira. Now, Ibo Aslan is a big, juiced up bodybuilder type guy. He's fucking huge.
Your type of guy.
Yeah, he's a really Rafael Cerqueira, the Lion. This guy actually trains with Jailton Almeida, and he's a very good fighter from Brazil. Ibo Aslan, he's got some power. He's a big guy, like I said, but I think Rafael Cerqueira is a little bit more technical in his striking. I think Ibo is he just throws a lot of wild, big punches. And I like the fact that he trains with Jailton Almeida. So that means his ground game is going to be solid. His wrestling is going to be solid. So he'll be able to get the takedowns and use some of his ground game skills on Ibo Aslan. My pick is going to be Rafael Cerqueira here to win this one. He's been looking really good, 11-0. Not to say that Ibo Aslan hasn't been looking good either. He won his first fight by knockout, but he knocked out Anton Turkalj, who's not really that great.
The pleasure man.
Exactly, and he's really not that great at all.
And the pleasure man actually beat him. Like before that. That was a rematch.
Oh yeah, okay. So it must have been like a while ago in one of the lower level events, I guess, eh? Not in
Yeah.
the UFC though, because it was
No.
probably. I know he made his debut there in that last fight, but yeah, the Cerqueira, like I said, he's been looking really good. Coming off of a fight winning streak there. Most of his wins are coming out by knockout. He's very powerful. He's got some submissions. I'm liking him to get the win here over the big Ibo Aslan, who might gas out when the fight gets to the later rounds. Who you got in this one, Indio?
Yeah, that would mean by my worry with Ebo here is the potential for gassing out with all of what he's taking. He does have a lot of power. He even has a lot of power in close, like with those in close shots. He can actually knock guys out like that. So that's something to look out for. But my pick as well is going to be Rafael Cerqueira. This guy likes to control the middle of the cage. He has, like, his shots are strong, and he likes to maintain a slow but steady pressure. One thing I recommend him to do are, since I don't really see him target the body with anything except the occasional nice front teep kick, and I think that would weaken Ebo there if he were to do that. And also, I think while he may not have as much pure power as Ebo, he makes up for it with more like creativity. Like the last guy I saw him fight here, he knocked out with a spinning elbow.
Yeah, he has spinning elbows and back fists.
Yeah, and he has precision with it. You know, he's like not one of these guys that you know he's gonna try and pull that shit, but he's never really gonna get it. You know, and it causes more harm than good. This guy actually connects. Albeit the guy I saw him do that against was really tired at the time. I don't know if he had much strength to block that shot anyway, but it did take him by surprise. And I think he's going to catch Aslan with a couple of those this fight. So I expect a knockout or decision for Cerqueira.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked if he uses his ground game and gets a few takedowns on Ibo Aslan as well there. And not to mention, he's also going to be a pretty big guy himself too. I can't wait to see the weigh-ins and
Yeah, he has good size. That should be able to stack up nice against Aslan here.
All right, looking good. We are in agreement with the first two fights of the early prelims here. Let's move on up to the next fight now. We got Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Carlos Leal.
Okay, now I was happy when I saw this come. I was waiting to see how much the value would be on Carlos Leal here, and it wasn't as much as I thought it would be, but good enough at 3 times your money currently. I'm going to be going with Carlos Leal here. Don't let that goofy looking picture on Topology here fool you, man. This guy is big, he's powerful, and don't even mention, oh, he's coming off on short notice because he was actually in a full camp and he was supposed to fight Wednesday. So now he's fighting the next Saturday, like 4 days later, whatever, right? I really don't think Reynat is like this monster that some people think he is, kind of on the Khamzat Chimaev level. Like he does have that good wrestling style they all have. He's very strong. But I think against better guys, he'll struggle more. Like he'll dominate some guys, like Kevin Lee. We saw what he did to him. He ragdolled him and got him in that submission. I thought he was going to kill him there. Kevin Lee a lot like smaller too, but Kevin Lee very strong himself, very athletic, and usually very good in the first round. Reynat put him away in under a minute. Leal here, I think he's got to avoid getting taken down. The way to do that is kick him hard on the legs. Reynat will get tired. I've seen Reynat get tired. If Leal doesn't get tired first, he has to hit him with those leg kicks to make those takedowns less effective for Fakhretdinov. He's only at 50% success rate as it is. I say only, it's very good. He gets like 3-4 takedowns a fight, but he works for all of them, and they tire him out. Topping that off with good striking by Leal. Like the guy has power, and I think enough power to hurt Fakhretdinov as it goes on later into the fight. I don't think these guys are going to finish each other. I think it will be a decision. And I think later on in the fight, Leal's going to be dealing the heavier shots, more damage. We're going to see Reynat visibly more tired. And what else do I have here? No, basically, I think I got it all. Those were in my notes. I kind of winged it there, but they were really following all that I had to offer you guys for that. Oh yeah, he has a decent jab as well that he uses to set up more of those power shots that we have to see against Reynat. We're going to see how tough Reynat is after this fight. I don't think this is going to be a pushover fight at all for him.
Man, I gotta give it to you, Andy O, man. You are a guy that does not care about the masses, and you do not care about what everybody has picked here.
I think my record speaks for itself.
If we look at the topology here, 6% have Leal, 94% have Fakhretdinov. This is one of those ones where NDO picks a dog here, like he did last week, where nobody picked Rob Font and he picked Rob Font and got the win. Very good on that one, NDO. I don't know if you're going to hit on this one here, but it's a very ballsy move by you to pick Leal. I don't think he wins this one.
Come on, Nadeal, be brave, man. Be brave.
Can't do it, man. Rinat Fakhretdinov, okay, first of all, he was supposed to fight Nursultan Ruboev.
Oh, okay, can I just say one thing, interrupting you very rudely? I apologize. I just wanted to say...
You talked a whole bunch about Carlos Leal there. Yeah,
No, just to leave, this is very important because the only guy that can beat this guy, okay, since 2014, and we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, around 20 fights. The only guy that's given him problems, that beat him twice, is Sabidou C. And this guy is a whole different ballpark, game plan, creativity, length, different style than Fakhretdinov. So if Sabidou C beats Leal, that doesn't really mean much as far as this fight's concerned. And he's beaten everyone else. Go ahead.
I think we have enough convincing on your end about Carlos Leal here. I think you've proven your point here. I'm not convinced to go with Carlos Leal, but you made some very good points. Listen, Fakhretdinov was supposed to fight the giant Nursultan Ruzaboyev, and that fight got canceled with the Ruzaboyev who withdrew. Now they're giving him Carlos Leal, who's never fought in the UFC, making his UFC debut here. Carlos Leal is very good. They call him the Lion. He's beaten a lot of guys. I'm not going to say that he's not. He's 21-5. But all the fighters that he's beaten have been guys that have been in the lower level events as LFA, in the UAE.
He's beaten very good guys there. I can read you the guys he's beaten that are very good.
I think you've said enough about Carlos Leal here.
You're saying the guys he beat are crap. It's not true. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that they're not UFC caliber guys, but however has fought in the UFC. He's got more experience, man. Guys like Andreas Michailidis beating him in unanimous decision. Brian Battle, another really, really tough opponent. Brian Battle, we've seen how good he's been, and Renat was able to beat him by unanimous decision. He's beaten guys like Kevin Lee, also Nicholas Dalby, another tough motherfucker. Beat him by split decision in that last fight.
He should beat a 40-year-old guy, more easily than that.
But I got to go with Renat because of the fact that he does have that Dagestani Russian jiu-jitsu and also wrestling and grappling, which he's going to use on Carlos Leal. Renat's very relentless with the takedowns, relentless with the wrestling and grappling. I don't know if Leal has ever fought anybody of that caliber. It's a step up in competition for him as well. So we are in disagreement. I got Renat Fakhretdinov winning this one by decision or maybe a submission. With the good ground game that he has there. But hey, man, I got to give you props for finding a lot of info out on Carlos Leal and making some valid points there, some good points to back him up there. But I just can't do it with this guy coming in on short notice. I know you said that he fought recently there and he was supposed to fight recently, but I just don't think that with Renat on a full camp, he'll be able to take him. So I got Renat Fakhretdinov here. We are in disagreement in the first fight of the prelims. Let's move on up to the next fight.
You say he can't take Reynard on a full camp?
Renat.
So if Reynard had not a full camp, he'd be able to beat him?
Well, no, I'm saying that Renat has had a full camp.
So did he.
Training for a guy like Nursultan Rizal.
That goes both ways, though. Remember, like he wasn't training for his opponent here. This is like could work against him as well.
But this is
But
an actual easier fight for him to fight instead of Nursultan. He's fighting a lower level guy like Carlos Leal. But anyways, again, enough about that fight. Let's move on to the next one. We got Farid Basharat here against Victor Hugo. I got to pick Farid Basharat in this one. He's just a better overall. This guy is just amazing on the feet and on the ground. He's been on a tear lately, winning all of his fights in the last 5 fights. Been doing really, really well in the UFC. Victor Hugo's also still not bad, but he's more of a striker. Farid Basharat is more of a grappler and wrestler. His ground game is far, very, very high level, and his techniques are really, really good. He's very careful in there. He moves around. He strikes very precisely. The fight against that was really impressive was the last fight where he beat Taylor Lapilus. Taylor Lapilus is another guy who we've seen how good he has been in the UFC. Lapilus has very good wrestling, very good ground game as well, and Farid was able to stuff takedowns and get takedowns of his own in that fight. Was able to land a lot of punches, a lot of kicks. Won a unanimous decision against him. Clayton Rodriguez, another guy who he was able to land a submission on. So I like Farid Basharat in this one to beat Victor Hugo. I think he wins by submission or decision. Who you got in this one, Andio?
yeah, I got to go with Basharat here. I think he's just slightly better everywhere. He's very crisp. He looks really good in there. Can move around well. I like him defensively also. And if Hugo would be able to grapple a little more, and really go for it a little more, I think he'd stand a far better chance in Basharat than Basharat. But I think Basharat's gonna really just be a little more dominant, do a little more things on the ground if it gets there, maybe come close to a sub, and be a little better on the feet as well. And I think it's going to be a 30-27 win in the end for Basharat.
Not to mention in his UFC debut when he beat Damon Blackshear, that was very impressive as well. All right, so in agreement with this fight. All right, let's move on up to the next one here. We got Kennedy Nzechukwu against, oh no, not this fart of Chris Barnett again.
Oh.
All right.
He's back, Chris Barnett. Okay. In good faith, it's very hard to pick Barnett. And that's what makes this fight difficult.
Come on.
I'm kind of, all right. I'm kind of torn between picking Barnett because I'm thinking like a better here. So let's just say, keep that in mind as my pick. I'm gonna have to go with Nchukwu just because he seems like a more of an MMA guy. Am I confident in him? Absolutely not. He should be kicked out of the UFC if he loses this fight. The best guy he's beaten would be Ion Cutelaba when Cutelaba did not look as good as his last fight, the best he's ever looked. He got a 50-50 Cutelaba, which lost there. Um, really no faith in Chukwu. I think they really gave a layup here to Chris Barnett, who's been dying to get a fight and to fight anybody for how long? He's had six cancellations in a row for some reason.
Yeah, let's see if this might even happen. Seriously.
And he's always been on the cusp of being kind of a freak fighter rather than a pure real fighter. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to go with it in Chukwu. But for betting purposes, I have to say no. I have to put a sprinkle on Barnett. I just hope the line gets a lot higher. So before fight time, I hope the line is really astronomical. What else am I? What am I going to do with Nchukwu? That's like saying, okay, I pick Nchukwu, which means I don't really have much confidence in him at all. So I'm going to sacrifice two other guys so I can put him in a parlay, right? And then those guys are screwed over if this guy loses the fight, right? It's a no-win situation. It's dog or pass all the way. But man, I gotta go with Nchukwu to pull out the win.
All right, I hear what you're saying here. I'm not gonna, talk too long about this fight, but I mean, let's talk about a couple of things here. First of all, Nzechukwu is going to have a 6 year youth advantage. He's going to be 6 years younger at 32. Barnett's 38. And this is where it's crazy. We're talking a 8-inch height advantage. Okay, 5'9" to 6'5". It's absolutely insane. The reach advantage as well is crazy. We're talking an 8-inch reach advantage as well there. An 8-inch height advantage, an 8-inch reach advantage for a guy like Nzechukwu. Look, Nzechukwu was supposed to fight Justin Tafa, and now he's going to fight this fucking bum of Chris Barnett. This should be super easy for Nzechukwu. I got to pick Nzechukwu to win here. I say he finishes Chris Barnett either by knockout or submission. I know that he hasn't looked good in his last two fights. Ovin St. Preux, that split decision where he lost. I thought he won the fight in that one, honestly. I thought Ovin St. Preux didn't even do that much damage. I didn't think he did that much.
But you see what I mean? Like, look how bad both of those guys looked that fight, and at the end, to have less energy than OSP. It's just, how can you trust a guy like this?
I
Like I
hear you, but this is against Chris Barnett here now.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I get it. But,
He managed to knock out Kennedy, but prior to that, he was doing well. The submission on Devin Clark, the knockout on Jan Kutilaba, and the knockout on Carl Robertson. So I like Kennedy as a Chuck to win here by finish. I think, look, Chris Barnett won't even be able to reach the chin.
he'll reach if Kennedy Nunchaku doesn't think he can get a foot right in the face by Kevin Barnett, he'll be sorely mistaken. He
The
better watch
highest
out for
he'll
that.
kick, the highest he'll kick is he'll reach the chest of Kennedy.
I'm telling you, he'll kick him in the head if he can. He can do that.
If he
I'm telling you now.
in the head, that means that Kennedy is on his knees, and that
And
would.
you've never seen Chris Barnett kick
I've
before.
seen him kick, but hey, just give me, let's not say the guy can do the splits here. I don't
I'm
think.
telling you, the guy can reach and chuckle with his foot somewhere in the face. Like, it's possible.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that, man.
I
But
like it's a fight's different, but if I told Guy to stand there and see if Chris Barnett can do it, and don't move, 100% he can do it.
and
The guy trained in like Taekwondo and shit like that with he can stretch, he can probably do the splits actually. And like he can like move like that unlike any other stubby short fatso,
I do,
like
I do know that he's athletic. I agree, he is athletic, but again, this is an 8-inch height advantage here. Let's be honest here. This is a crazy height advantage here. It's going to be hard for him to even be able to strike. If he punches Kennedy, he'll land on his chest at the highest. If he tries punching upwards, he'll hit his chest, not his face. Uh,
it's
I can't see him winning this one, man. We're not going to keep too much longer on this one. I
it's
got
gonna look funny in there.
But I see you're a dog chaser, and you've been doing well lately. So if you hit on Chris Barnett, hey, maybe he's worth a salt shake or a tap.
So a sprinkle or a shake on Barnett, that's a no-brainer.
Let's hope he's going to be worth like 7 or 8 times your money. All right, let's move on up to the next fight here. We got Abus Magomedov versus Bruno Ferreira. Who you got here, Andy O?
Now, this fight, I'm looking forward to this fight. I've never been a big fan of Abbas, and I don't. I think he'll wilt against a guy that'll bring the pressure like Ferreira. The problem with Ferreira is he begins to look like he's really gassing out and he fights through it, which I love, but he doesn't pull through it like some guys do, like DDP, for instance. But I think he's going to just crack a bus at some point in time. I think this guy's a cocky bastard. I think he's going to come in there underestimating Bruno Ferreira. And I think Bruno Ferreira gets another massive knockout, flatlining a bus in the first round.
Man, it's a pretty interesting, it's a pretty interesting fight here. These
You
two.
you like that quick breakdown, eh? Real
I
deal.
mean, Bruno Ferreira is really massive. He's huge. He's ripped. He's big. Abus himself is pretty big too, as well. He's going to have a height advantage, though. A 3-inch height advantage there.
Bruno's very good at coming in. Remember in his fight,
4-inch
so
height advantage there. Also, the reach advantage too, as we can see here, it's a 6-inch reach advantage for Abus, which I'm a little bit worried about because he's pretty good at staying at keeping a distance when he fights.
uh, yeah, you're right in one way, but another reason I think is because he's not as much of a go-getter in his fights, right? And he'd rather kind of like fight a little more on the scare side rather than I'm gonna go into the fire kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, look, he did get knocked out by Sean Strickland, and Sean Strickland, what he did against Abus was he kept moving forward, he kept striking, he did his boxing, and that's I think where Bruno Ferreira is going to be able to match what Sean Strickland did with that moving forward way of fighting, where he constantly keeps coming forward at you. I think Abus, that's where he struggles when he's on his back foot. Bruno Ferreira is going to come marching. He's going to come walking towards him. He's going to walk him down. He's going to throw some very huge punches, some very powerful punches. I'm going to be in agreement with you. I think he catches him with a punch and lands something on a boost and maybe knocks him out. I got to go with Bruno Ferreira by knockout. Not very confident in it. If Abus uses his reach advantage and his height advantage properly and keeps a distance and maybe uses a bit of his takedowns and mixes it up with some grappling, which I don't think he'll do it. He has the skills to do it, Abus, to take people down and use the grappling, but he doesn't often do it. So if he doesn't use the grappling like he didn't do against Sean Strickland, I say Bruno Ferreira gets the win here. So I'll be in agreement with you here. I'll go with Bruno Ferreira by knockout. Again, I'm not really high confident in it, and we'll see on Friday if I stick with that pick. But for now, yeah, I'll agree with you there. All right, let's move on up to the next fight. We got Motobek Oralbai against Mateus Rebecki. Now, this fight,
Miktebek.
some people say Motobek.
Oh, do they?
Some say Miktebek. It's very hard to pronounce his name.
I don't even say
Motobek.
Miktebek. I just say Oralbai.
Or you just go with Oralbai, exactly. This fight here, I like Miktebek or Moktebek, whatever you want to call him, Motobek, Miktebek. I like him winning this one. Finally, he's going to be actually the bigger guy in his fights. At 5'10", he's going to have the 3-inch height advantage over Mateus Rebecki. Also, looking at the reach advantage there, very significant reach advantage here. We're talking an 8-inch reach advantage here for Motobek Oralbai. That's going to be the key to victory, I think, here for Motobek. Much better striker, I find, than Mateus. Mateus now, he can wrestle, okay? He is a decent wrestler. He's got power, very strong. But the thing about Mateus Rebecki is that he does gas out. I think that Motobek is going to piece him up on the feet, really keep that distance, keep that reach advantage, use it to his advantage with the height advantage as well. And he can mix in the takedowns as well. He's very good at stopping takedowns, and he can wrestle on his own. He's got some submissions. He's been looking really good lately, winning all of his last 5 fights. So, I really like Miktebek here in this one. What about you, Andio?
Yeah, I like Oralbai. Oh, that was tough on the throat. Okay, yeah, I think Mateus Rebecki with him. Yeah, I should have seen this one coming the last time against Diego Ferreira. Of course, it's easy to say in hindsight because the guy was on a real roll, knockout power, and the wrestling, but it was always a question like with his gas tank because there were hints that he gassed out, later on in fights against other guys before he lost to Diego Ferreira. And he was a huge favorite in that fight, man. So I don't know if he's quite deserving of being a dog like this. I see Mick DeBeck is becoming quite the favorite as he wasn't before. So I hope you guys were looking at the lines a little earlier. But Mick DeBeck, man, I think he kind of gassed out himself in his last fight against Elvis Brenner, if I'm not mistaken. But he ended up winning the unanimous decision. That was a good Brenner performance where he fought like a dog, right? But I think Mick DeBeck is going to learn from that experience, come out stronger. He does have that reach advantage. I think he's a better wrestler too than Rebecca overall, and I think he's going to win another decision here, or just flatten him out and sub him out.
All right.
And get the knockout here. Yeah, auto bite.
I got the oral by winning as well by KO or submission. I don't think this fight goes the distance. All right, let's move on up to the last fight here. Jeff Neal against Rafael dos Anjos. I love Rafael dos Anjos, man. This guy's a legend in the sport. He's been really, really good. But I got to go with Jeff Neal here. I think Jeff Neal is just stronger. Come on, he's 40 years old now, RDA. I'm going to say that one thing, though, in the betting, RDA might be a really good dog play just because of his ground game and his submissions and his wrestling. If he takes Jeff Neal down and uses that as for the whole entire fight. But if this fight stays on the feet, Jeff Neal being the bigger guy at 5'11" to the 5'8", and also having a 5-inch reach advantage, I really think Jeff Neal is going to use that reach advantage to his advantage here. I think he's the better striker by far. He's a very, very hard puncher too. He's got knockout power. I think he knocks out Rafael dos Anjos. And I like Rafael dos Anjos, like I said. But if Rafael dos Anjos does not use completely grappling and wrestling the entire time, he's going to lose this fight. So I got Jeff Neal winning by knockout or decision. Who you got here?
Yeah, overall, it's all started to slip a little for Dos Anjos. He should go all the time, all grappling, all take him down, but very few can do that, and he can't do that anymore at his age, especially. So yeah, I see Jeff Neal. The reach advantage is going to help him out here. He has great boxing. Dos Anjos would be wise to stay out of that range. But yeah, the youth and Jeff Neal, I still think he has something to prove. While Dos Anjos does as well, like he can still do it. But I think Neal actually believes he can win a title. I think that's important. So I'm going to go with Jeff Neal by knockout or decision.
All right, there you have it, folks. Our early predictions for the prelims. This has been a long prelims, man. A lot of fights. Let's get into it. Stay tuned for our next one for the main card.
And like and subscribe. The algorithm.
Yeah, like and subscribe, folks. Leave a comment for the algorithm. Peace out. KAMMA.